Welcome to the verified unknown. We don't give you the answers, we give you the evidence and let you decide for yourself. Today, we are diving into one of history's biggest what-if questions. Is our timeline of human civilization wrong? Mainstream archaeology tells a story of a steady climb from hunter-gatherers to farmers to empire builders starting around 5,000 years ago. But what if that story is incomplete? What if the roots of civilization reach back into the deep, foggy past of the last ice age? Strap in, because we're counting down the top 10 reasons why human civilization may be far, far older than we've been taught. Reason number 10, the so-called missing link in our own evolution. Proponents of an older civilization point out that anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, appear in the fossil record around 300,000 years ago. They argue this looks like a sudden leap, unexplained by gradual evolution, and could hint at something else, perhaps an intervention or a rapid acceleration. Number 9, our own bizarre biology. Why do we have such large, energy-hungry brains compared to other primates? Why are we relatively hairless? Why do our infants require such a dangerously long period of helpless care? Some suggest these traits are evolutionary anomalies that don't neatly fit the standard model, posing the question, were we designed or accelerated for a specific purpose? Reason 8, the literal interpretation of ancient texts. Proponents take creation epics like the Sumerian Enuma Elish or the Atrahasis not as myth, but as garbled historical accounts. They point to passages describing beings creating mankind, or mixing clay and blood. Even the biblical Genesis line, "Let us make mankind in our image," is cited as potential evidence of a non-human intelligence in our distant past. Number 7, megalithic mastery. Structures like the Great Pyramid of Giza are feats of engineering, mathematics, and astronomy that seem staggeringly advanced for a society with copper tools. The precision of the stonework, the alignment to true north, and the incorporation of pi and the golden ratio lead some to ask, were the builders working with knowledge passed down from a much older, more sophisticated culture? Before we get to the top half of our list, if you're finding this evidence intriguing, help us grow the conversation. Hit that like button, subscribe to the Verified Unknown, and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Reason 6 is a site that single-handedly forced archaeologists to rewrite the textbook, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Dated to around 11,500 years ago, thousands of years before Stonehenge or the pyramids, this massive, complex ceremonial site was built by pre-agricultural hunter-gatherers. For alternative history, authors like Graham Hancock, this is a smoking gun. It proves that hunter-gatherers were capable of monumental architecture and complex social organization, hinting that the skills to build it may have been inherited from an even older, lost civilization. Number 5, the riddles of the Sphinx. Geologist Robert Schoch, championed by Hancock, argues that the deep vertical weathering patterns on the Sphinx enclosure are characteristic of water erosion from prolonged, heavy rainfall. The last time Egypt had a climate wet enough for that, over 7,000 years ago. If correct, this would mean the Sphinx is millennia older than its accepted date of 4,500 years, placing its origins in a forgotten epoch. Reason 4, Gunung Padang in Indonesia. Some researchers, using ground-penetrating radar, claim this is not a natural hill, but a massive layered pyramidal structure, with the deepest layers potentially dating back over 20,000 years. While fiercely contested by mainstream archaeologists, Hancock and others point to it as potential physical proof of an advanced Ice Age civilization in Southeast Asia. Number 3, the cataclysm. Hancock's core thesis hinges on a real scientific debate, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Around 12,800 years ago, as the last Ice Age was ending, the planet suddenly plunged back into a deep freeze for over 1,000 years. A growing body of evidence suggests this was triggered by comet fragments striking the Earth. Hancock proposes this cataclysm didn't just change the climate. It obliterated a highly advanced global civilization that existed during the Ice Age, a civilization he associates with the legend of Atlantis, with myth scroll overlays and route lines. Reason 2, the global connections. Why do so many unrelated cultures have flood myths? Why do pyramids and megalithic sites appear worldwide? Hancock's narrative offers an answer. After the comet-induced collapse, the survivors, the sages or magicians of the lost civilization, traveled the globe as civilizing figures. They shared the blueprints of their knowledge, jump-starting agriculture, astronomy, and monumental construction among scattered hunter-gatherer groups, explaining the sudden rise of civilizations in Sumer, Egypt, and the Americas. And the number one reason human civilization may be older, the mother culture thesis itself, most famously argued by Graham Hancock. The sheer weight of these global anomalies, taken together, forms a compelling pattern for proponents. A single, sophisticated source culture, over 12,000 years ago, its history wiped clean by a global catastrophe, its legacy surviving in myth and in stones, we are only now beginning to understand. It's a grand, unifying theory that challenges us to reconsider everything. So where does the truth lie? Is mainstream archaeology, with its methodical, evidence-based timeline, correct? Or is it, as Hancock suggests, a protectionist priesthood, ignoring a grander, more ancient truth buried in plain sight? We want to hear from you. Sound off in the comments below. What's the most convincing piece of evidence for you? Do you buy the lost civilization theory, or do you think the mainstream explanations hold up? Remember, this is the verified unknown. We present the evidence. You decide. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep questioning.